Now, this is a deck that I've been trying to get to work for a very long time. It's Heart-Stopping Kiss Jynx. This card obviously has some synergy with a Hypno from Pokemon 151, it itself coming from 151 as well, a Water-type 200 HP Heart-Stopping Kiss for a Water and double colorless, instantly takes a knockout as long as your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep. That is any number of HP that Pokemon has can get knocked out. I've got some very weird inflections at the moment, but that's okay. We are going to focus in on how to put those Pokemon to sleep, and that is Hypno, who is here for Hypnosis. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, then your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our Hypno down, then we are going to declare our Jynx's Heart-Stopping Kiss and take a knockout on anything in the game. The big issue with that is it's a bit combo heavy. We need a little bit of extra help to get it across the line, and so we're going to try and use Palkia VSTAR to do that. It's a 280 HP Water-type Pokemon VSTAR. We can use Subspace Swell for 2 Water Energy. We do 60 damage and then 20 more for each benched Pokemon in play, both ours and our opponents in the early game, to try and take some knockouts to set our board up. More importantly, we're going to use Star Portal to try and accelerate energies onto our Jynx. It can be very difficult to get that attack off, so any help we can get is appreciated. And because we are playing Palkia, we can also potentially use Moonlight Shuriken with our Radiant Greninja. This card obviously just very good for some consistency, as is our good friend Industrious Incisors Bibarel. Very, very useful to draw cards and get ourselves out of sticky situations. Ultimately, though, this deck is not necessarily too complicated. It's essentially just trying to get as many of our Pokemon in play as we can, take some attacks with Palkia, and then try and get a knockout with Jynx. And frankly, if we can get a Heart-Stopping Kiss to work here and take a knockout, I'll be happy, even if we can't win. I'll say this much before we go into the game: this is a difficult deck to win with. It's definitely very casual, and since it's so combo heavy, you will be frustrated very frequently. I know I certainly was. So if you'd like to try it out, it's down in the description. You can play along with me. Otherwise, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Tell me how silly this card is in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. We'll jump into a game and see if we can't win with Jynx. That's Heart-Stopping Kiss. Good grief. This is grim. We've got an opening start here of a Bidoof. Oh, we've just drawn into a Palkia. Ignore what I was saying. Ignore what I was saying. A Palkia has entered the field of play, and now we've actually got a pretty solid start. I mean, we're up against a Genesect, which is not ideal, but I'm not going to complain. Let's retreat into the Palkia, and then it's just going to be a pass. Not much else for us to do, but we do have Ultra Ball for next turn, and if we need to stall, we've got Hypno as well, so that's good. Now, I don't know what version of Mew this is going to be after the Peoria Regionals. I think it is the most recent one. It could be that this is a Path Mew deck. Much more likely, though, I think this is going to be a Fusion version, which could potentially pose a problem, because Fusion Energy, Fusion Strike Energy, as far as I am concerned, will stop me from using Jynx. So hopefully my opponent just has no idea what's going on, and they elect to do some funky things. If that's the case, then we give ourselves a chance to win the game. If they do put one on, even if they put one on like a Mew VMAX or something like that, we will be in a little bit of trouble. So definitely not the best situation for us to be in. What would be a really good situation, by the by, is our Bidoof staying alive, because if that happens, we can get into Bibarel, we can actually start drawing some cards, which I'd like. And with the double Ultra Ball, we can get access to Bibarel and Palkia this turn if we want it. And to be honest, I think it's probably it's a position where we probably need to get it. So it's best to do. It's best to do. It's best to do. It's best to get the Palkia in play. So here comes the Elisa Sparkle. That gives us a bit of an idea as to what deck our opponent is playing. They're playing the Fusion Strike version. They'll be searching out a couple of Fusion Strike Energy, one to the active and one to the Genesect, which is interesting. Could be that they're powering up a Genesect attacker here, and I think all is going well for us. I mean, they've still got 3 more Genesects to use, which is a concern. It's definitely not ideal. I'm actually quite upset about that, frankly, that they've got so many more cards to draw. But that's okay. We can just sit back and relax. It's only been 2 minutes for an opening turn from Mew, so it's not like it's the end of the world. And yeah, we'll just keep on trundling along. Now, at this point, by the way, I have pre-recorded game after game after game after game after game. But as you're watching this, I now have no more pre-recorded games. So I have to decide what decks I want to look into, and I think it's going to be some more 151 ones. We'll see, though, because there's lots of different variants of versions of decks that I haven't looked at yet. So if you want to see a specific version, then let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Tell me what it is that you would like to see. We've got an Ultra Ball, which I like. Grab ourselves a Bibarel. I do like that. We can throw that down, and then we can use our Industrious Incisors for 4 cards here. After attaching to the Palkia in the active, there's a Lumineon and also an Irida, which is very interesting. Now, I would like to use Palkia's ability here. Star Portal is very, very good, but we don't actually have access to any water energy right now, apart from the one in the discard pile, and is it efficient enough to do that? I do want to attach the double turbo energy, though, so we are going to Nest Ball for a, what? Greninja? Maybe to... we can discard... no, let's go for the Jynx. We can attach the double turbo. That seems more reasonable. Although, we did attach manually from hand. No, we didn't. What's going on? What are we going to do? This is actually really bad. Let's get a Palkia, because I can Raihan to the Palkia. We only have 1 energy. I should have discarded that with the Ultra Ball, because then I could have attached the double turbo as well. That's okay. Star Portal, 1 energy. We're going to go ahead and prizes, but this is not working out the way that I would have liked. Partially user error, but you know what? I'm going to blame Jynx. I'm going to blame her, because she's frustrating to deal with, difficult to play, hard to get the combo off. Palkia does the job, and unprizing Melony means that we are actually in a pretty good spot to attack next turn with a second Palkia VSTAR if our opponent can get the knockout. Now, you would assume that they can. They are Mew, and they have 4 Genesects in play. Oh, so it's kind of very likely, and the Mew VMAX, so all of the pieces are in play for our opponent. Let's wait and see whether they can get the appropriate cards. I'm just very quickly clicking away from some stuff that's annoying me over here on this screen where my OBS is. So, but by now you all know where my OBS is, as opposed to the game, which is immediately in front of me. Thank you all, by the way, for your feedback in the previous videos. I'll throw it out there. I haven't read it. Those videos aren't out yet. But when you do comment, I will have read them, which means that as this video is playing, I have read them. So I'm not lying to you. I've read the feedback. I just can't be specific about it because I don't know what it is, because I haven't seen it yet. But if you've got more feedback for me, then please leave it in the comments. Like I said, I'm no longer responding to every comment, so if you are looking for that engagement from me, it's not going to come as frequently, but I do read them all, especially the mean ones. I read them over and over and over again. Really crushes my spirit, to be brutally honest. I should probably stop reading them. I don't know. You can see what happens when you play against Mew. You drive yourself insane, because there are so many more cards for them to play. They have triple Forest Stone now, and they've been playing for 4 minutes. I've played for 2 minutes. I've had 2 turns. Mew's been playing for 4 minutes. They've had 1.5 turns. They still haven't knocked me out, but it's very likely that they do. I don't even know how many power tablets they've used. I don't know whether they've used more than one. They just use Elisa's Sparkles to power up a Genesect, of all things. Oh, concern. Concern. Just looking at this hand here, there's a world where we actually do get a knockout this turn. Whether we get that knockout with Jynx or not is completely up to the gods. But right now, I would say we're in a pretty good spot. There is the knockout. I'm not going to say we're in a pretty good spot. We're in an acceptable spot. They get the knockout there, knock out the Palkia, and that is a frightening place to be. Let's just have a think here. Can I get a KO? Got double energy in the discard pile. The Lumineon can grab ourselves a Raihan, which I like. So we can Luminous sign for the Raihan. I do like that. Raihan will be able to attach energy to a Jynx, but we need to get the Jynx out first. So let's just double check all the cards that we have. I think we actually do have enough to do this. So we can Ultra Ball here. We're going to get rid of the Rope and the Path, because we don't want that in play. That will give us access to our Jynx, which is fantastic. We can throw that Jynx into the field of play. We can use Raihan to attach a water energy to our Jynx. And then we can also use that Raihan to get a switch card to put our Jynx into the active. Now, you might say, Mitch, why don't you just use the Escape Rope? Well, I actually need to hold this Melony for the rest of the game, because otherwise I can never attack with Palkia again, which would be a concern. And then we can throw a few other cards forward here. I like holding the Super Rod, I think is probably fine. I do like playing this Ultra Ball at the very least, so we're going to do that to guarantee ourselves the here for Hypnosis, and now we actually do get the heart-stopping kiss to work. So for all of you out there that were saying that it was impossible, which was mainly just me, we are about to take 3 prizes with it, so let's use Heart-Stopping Kiss. It just knocks out our opponent's active Pokemon, so even though this 3-prize VMAX Pokemon has 310 HP, it's just knocked out, like it's gone. And we take 3 prizes here. We actually draw into Energy and Boss as well as another Drowzee, so that's good. I mean, we potentially need an Escape Rope here, which might mean that the discard was a little bit awkward last turn. Having to discard that Escape Rope might actually cost us the game. But in saying that, we do only have Melony and Energy. We still need the Palkia VSTAR as well. Although I will say there is a chance that our opponent can't knock out a Palkia. If they don't have access to cards like the Choice Belt, or maybe even a copy of Power Tablet, then we might be able to sneak ourselves a victory. But you know what, Mew is a very, very frightening deck, and having a Mew VMAX in the active with double Turbo Energy means that they are definitely, at the very least, taking a knockout on this Jynx. So we need to be careful, we need to be cautious, we need to be watchful. All will come to a head, and we will give ourselves a chance here. At some point, at the very least, our opponent gets rid of one of their many Forest Sealstones. They still haven't used that, by the way. They could use it, but they don't really need to. I keep throwing 2-prize Pokemon at them, and you know what? That's a little bit frightening. There's a Power Tablet, so maybe if I do get a Palkia here, we might be able to survive. And they get rid of an Escape Rope as well, so maybe our opponent making a slight miscalculation, potentially. They're definitely drawing lots of cards, so they're drawing through their deck. Maybe they're just looking for the boss, right? They got 2 attackers. No, they're just going to go for the judge. Okay, that's fair enough. Disrupt my hand. It's frustrating because I did have the Melony there. Now I have the other 2 cards. I have the Palkia and I have the basic Water Energy. So if we can find that Melony again, then we've got a really good chance, but there's 30 cards in our deck, which is genuinely quite a big concern. So I don't know whether or not we're going to be able to make this happen, but hey, that's fine. We also can't necessarily take a knockout. This Mew VMAX is very large. It's a very big Pokemon we're going to find difficult to knock out. So we'll wait and see what our opponent does here. They're using their VSTAR power now to grab a card out of the deck. Probably just thinning, going, there's no chance my opponent attacks here. We've got such a bad hand, so they're just going to grab a card out of the deck. They've still got access to... No, they don't have access to any more Genesects. It's going to Lost Vacuum. So it looks like we're just on a big thin here. We're thinning out cards, and we're hoping to give ourselves as good a chance to win as possible next turn. But, you know, if we find an Escape Rope, if there is one left in the deck, I don't think that there is. But if there is, we can potentially get that knockout. And our opponent retreating into Genesect here. So, a very interesting choice. Not sure that that's the best choice available to them. But I mean, it does stop us from taking a knockout with a Jynx. So I can understand that logic. Let's promote our Palkia here. I think it's the only chance that we've got, really. Like, we have to just take a knockout and win the game. Which means that we need to find that copy of Melony. So I think we just put the Palkia in the active, and we maximize our outs here. We've got a Palkia VSTAR, so we can throw that down. We unfortunately already used the VSTAR power, so no Star Portal. We can Vacuum, which will be able to get rid of our opponent's tools. And I'm thinking the box on the active is probably a good idea. We'll get rid of that. Then we can play down the Artazon and thin out another card from our deck if we want to. And I think we need to. I think we just need to draw into this and win the game. So we'll throw down a Drowzee just in case we whiff. How many cards do we have? We have 1. We have 1 card that wins the game. So we just need to hit it. It's a 5 in 28 chance, I suppose. I don't know if that's how maths work, but how it works, but let's go for it, and we hit it! We hit the Melony. Okay. Alright. That just means we win, right? That just means we win. We've got 260 damage. Let's take the knockout. Now, I don't know if my opponent would have been able to win if they had attacked with the Mew, but, like, we just won. Which is ridiculous. I'm not gonna ask any questions. We're just gonna leave it there. Thank you everyone for watching. You saw Jynx and Hypno do the job. I appreciate it. Play along with me. The list's in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all for more next time on the Sableyes. Whatever that sentence is. Goodbye.